What is going on? You are watching and listening to Tags Live. I'm your host, Steve V. Rodriguez. This is episode 246, if you're listening to it when this drops, alongside my co-host, one of my BFFs, Cody Maurice Doggett. How the hell are you?
That's me. Hello, darling. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm really good on this hump day, doing really well. Yep, I got a glass of wine as always. I've got some beads that I got in Mexico when I was there, so I'm feeling good. Hello to our audience today. This is the show that we do every Wednesday night that's live on the Get Vocal platform, part of the Connection Zone. And what's great about this show is you guys get to weigh in on our hot gay sex topics, ask us questions, so feel free to put them in there. We do move on over to our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook. But if you really want to communicate with us, it's best to talk with us on the Get Vocal platform. Let's get right into it. We've got Tags Live news this week. And first off, Cody, it's just come to our attention that all Americans, if they really want, can be vaccinated by the end of May. Wow, this is monumental because at one point it was looking like then at one point it was the end of summer. And what did you first think when you heard that May? Like, we're gonna have a summer.
I know, right? My first thought was go Joe go, because this is what real leadership looks like. Hello, goodbye. So thank you for that. And I'm so excited to I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So it's really, really good. I was very hopeful when I heard that news.
It's so great because so many of, like, I think your mother, you said, was getting vaccinated. My mother
got a second shot last week.
Lovely. My mom got vaccinated. And to know that the gays are going to go crazy because it's going to actually mean the plans. You know how us gays love to plan a trip, plan our summer. Back in the day, all my friends would be like, did you get your tickets for this party? Did you get your tickets for that party? And it would be like 6 months in advance. It's like, I can't even plan tomorrow, let alone next, 6 months from now. But now that it's not the end of summer, it's actually projected the end of May. You know how summer begins on Memorial Day weekend. We can now plan some stuff. I'm excited myself. I cannot wait. So yeah.
Exciting.
Absolutely. Well, in other news, there's a story that I really wanted to talk about that is afflicting all of our community in America. And as many of us know, there's so many Asian hate crimes happening, people targeting in our city and cities across America of hate crimes, and it's no doubt started by the last administration, by the man that we don't want to say his name, calling it Kung Flu, calling the
we call him Voldemort.
There you go. I like that.
Yes.
Calling it the China virus, and it's horrific. And I was, we just have to, there's our gay Asian community. You can just imagine if it's happening just in the general, it's happening even more, I'm sure, in our gay Asian LGBTQ community. And there's a GoFundMe. I was just listening to a story earlier today. Stop Asian hate. Together we can make a difference. We must act now because a horrific and heartbreaking surge in violence against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders is happening across the U.S. And together it is our responsibility, and I do believe this too,
for sure,
to condemn hate and create lasting social change. So you guys can go to GoFundMe.com. I'm just going to put it in our, I'm just copying
comments,
pasting it and I'll put it in there. And for those of you listening to the show, I will put it on TAGSPodcast.com. it's to raise more awareness. Because if you've noticed, there's not like a lot of news stories that are reporting on this. And one of the things I've learned is I love to just hear from the people that are the victims. Mm-hmm. What they state is a lot of elder Asian Americans don't want to be noticed and want to cause attention to them. So they don't, what that means is they don't report a lot of these hate crimes.
That's really sad.
What we need to do is to raise more awareness for that. So just note on that. There's another thing about what people living with HIV need to know about COVID-19 vaccines. So just
that's interesting.
Yeah, so the COVID-19 vaccines are rolling out, as we all know, according to Plus Magazine, and some of you may already have received your first or even your second dose. Most Americans haven't and may have questions about them. So the vaccines, what they want you to know, are safe to take if you are living with HIV. People with HIV have been included in some of these clinical trials for Pfizer, Moderna. The first two approved.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Absolutely. And recent, no specific data on HIV positives people response to the vaccine has been released.
Okay.
But so far, there is no evidence that they have a different reaction. There is some speculation they may receive less protection than others, but that's not a reason to avoid being vaccinated. There's been some talk online that don't get it if you are HIV positive, but the vaccines do not contain live virus, which could potentially pose problems with those with HIV. Many prominent people have offered their endorsements of the vaccine, and including Matthew Hodson. He's the executive. He's the executive director of the UK nonprofit NAM AIDS Map. He said that as a person who's lived with HIV for 22 years, he will not hesitate to be vaccinated for COVID-19. You know, I'll post this link on TAGSPodcast as well in our show notes for episode 246 here. But I just think it's important to know that if you're wondering, more research has come out that it is safe to get vaccinated if you are HIV positive, which I think is really important.
Yes, it is. Thanks for keeping us informed, Steve. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And in other news, I couldn't help but talk about our sponsor, Manscaped.
Ooh.
And there's two products that I'm
I love Manscaped.
Me too. And as it's gonna start getting warmer here, and I'm gonna be out and about a lot more. And truth be told, I worked out really hard on legs today and did sort of a whore bath to get ready for you all. But I put on my crop preserver and ball toner spray and deodorant. And these two products keep your balls fresh for the long haul. And we know how it can get funky down there. These actually,
especially during the summer months.
Absolutely. So like today, and when you're out and about, the Crop Reviver is a spritzer spray. It's really cool. All that with the Lawnmower 3.0 to keep yourself trimmed and looking good as we enter in a post-pandemic world. You can get all of these products if you just go to manscaped.com. Use our promo code, though, because you'll get 20% off. It's TAGS, TAGS at checkout. Go to manscaped.com. Well, we have got to get into our first hot topic, and it's an interesting one that I was talking to you about. It had to do with my sister who was going to go on a date. I hope she doesn't mind me mentioning this.
Does she know? Does she know that you're mentioning
said it's okay. Yeah. I mean,
okay.
So she was telling me about, she was on a dating app, and there was a guy that she is supposed to be going on a date with, and they ultimately had a conversation and they really enjoyed each other's company on the phone.
Okay.
And midway through the phone call, or at the end of the phone call, they decided to go on a date, which I believe is tonight as we are speaking. So I'm going to get the 411 on that. I'll report back.
We need the update. Okay.
Here's the caveat. So
tell me all about it.
In between tonight's date, which they ultimately decided to go on, You follow me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
This guy responded to her in the message. Now, I'm not sure what app they use, but let's just say it was Match.com. He messaged in there and said, I noticed in our conversation that you stated when you went to Europe, you were complaining about cigarette smoke. And I read through my entire profile, but I've stated in my profile that I'm a closet smoker. So he asked the question to her, is this a deal breaker? Should we even go? So it's kind of a twofold question because I told her, first of all, why did he say complain?
Oh, that wasn't even my first question.
Was she complaining?
Let's go with that.
Was she complaining about a bad habit that actually kills people? And wasn't there a better way of stating it? But secondly, are we too quick, Cody, to often want to not meet up with people when we get in this virtual world? And we're so quick to just like poo-poo on meeting up with that person because we think that they're not going to be right for us?
Yeah. So to your first question, one of my really good friends smokes, and I don't let them do it around me because they know that I am completely against it. So I don't think it's really complaining to be worried about somebody's health. So there's that. And cigarette smoke is annoying to people that don't smoke. That's just a fact. To your second question, I have been known to cut people off maybe a little bit too quickly. If someone gives me the smallest like problem, I'm done with them. I can't deal with it. So yeah. I'm totally guilty of that.
Well, my first question is define what a closet smoker really is.
Yeah, that was my question too.
What I told her is, first of all, like, why are we smashing this and not even considering the date? It's a date. It's like an hour, right? At best. And it's probably just like a drink out in an outdoor venue somewhere. Order some appetizers.
Ooh,
and maybe
that's too far right there. Order some appetizers.
Maybe that's well, you know these days all these places you have to order that. But anyways, I just wonder if are we too quick to cut something out and define closet smoker? And don't use words like I said I was complaining because that's so negative. Yeah. But
if you really want to date somebody, you're not going to call them a complainer. So it went left for me there because, and also, does he smoke in the closet? If it's a secret, why is he telling her in the beginning that he's a closet smoker? I have so many questions for this man. Can he please tell me what the definition of a closet smoker is? Does anybody know?
I told her to tell him that you have a brother who doesn't live in the closet and he needs to get word of that.
Perfect.
So stop with this closet talk. And and what does that mean? And yeah, I mean, I think lastly, it's when I'm interested in somebody and I know that they're interested in me, I tend to want to just take that chance and just meet up or go on at least one. And if they say something in that date that's really irks me or something, I still might give them a second chance if they pursue it.
Yeah.
Or if I want to sleep with them, let's just be honest.
There's always a caveat, right?
Let me at least have that. And then I don't like them. And then I do think sometimes we're so quick to just end something so quickly. And so, yeah, I don't know.
Can I tell you a quick story really quick?
Yeah, you can.
One time I went on a date, right? And it was our second date. Our first date was cool. He was nice. He was a little bit boring, but that's neither here nor there. I gave him a second date just because he was a nice guy. We had a lot in common, but on the second date, he raised up his arm and there was a hole in the armpit of his shirt.
A fashion faux pas.
Fashion faux pas. Needless to say, he did not get a second date with me. And my mother makes fun of me to no end about me stopping dating this guy with the hole in his shirt.
Not for nothing. That reminds me of a commercial on one of those. It's like a detergent commercial on having less wrinkles in your.
I know the one you're talking about.
And it's this girl and guy going on a date, and she shows up, and he shows up across from her, and his shirt's all crinkled up.
Yeah.
And she says, he says, "You look great," and she says, "And you look remarkably comfortable," looking at his crinkled up V-neck. And I mean, am I judgmental about someone's fashion? It would have to depend. If a hole in someone's, that probably, because
Steve,
I have some really nice knits, and sometimes before you know it, there's a little hole and you don't realize it.
It was a t-shirt. It was a t-shirt
knit,
and it was.
I'm talking about knits.
Yeah, like it's cashmere, darling.
It's a knit, and well, that brings up a whole nother thing.
Yeah, it does. A whole can of worms.
Maybe like dirty fingernails that would really bother me. Stains in your underarm if you were sweating. And I say this with the caveat. That I used to have hyperhidrosis at one point over excessive sweating in my underarms.
Okay.
And I found different ways to kind of deal with that. So I say this from experience and maybe that makes me more sensitive to notice when someone's like sweating in that area, because I used to suffer from this. And believe you me, when you have that, you are so hyper aware of that, and you're constantly like holding your arms like this because you don't want people to notice that, and you're embarrassed, and it can change you're not yourself. So, a lot of it's so much work, but I guess my point to bringing up the story in the first place, it's like, my God, just one drink isn't a lifetime of dating or sex. It's just, go on the freaking date, unless they really showed themselves to be crazy.
Yeah. And if you don't know what could come of that first date, maybe his closet smoking could be something she can deal with. You don't know unless you go on that first date.
Exactly. All right. Well, we have more hot gay sex topics. Stay tuned, because one of them is going to be this fun new segment we're going to do about favorite thirst traps by a site. And we want you guys to weigh in. In fact, should we put it in for the people to weigh in later?
Yes. You want me to do it?
Do you have it? Okay, you'll do that. A little bit later in the show, Cody and I are going to, this site that we like, post like 23 different porn stars who took the hottest, sexiest dick pics and thirsty pics of the week, and they ask you to vote on it. So we thought we would do it on this show, but our job, because it's not a visual show, is to describe why we pick it in sort of those radio terms. So Cody and I are going to have to be really descriptive on why we chose the one, but we want our live audience to play along right now as soon as he puts it in the comment section. And then for those of you listening, it'll be on TAGSPodcast.com, and we want you to play along. All right. It is time for our segment that we started when we first started the show, called Vulnerable Voices. And this week, we are asking the question, what does your sexuality look like post-pandemic? Why do we ask?
Ready?
Yeah, I'll say that again. What does your sexuality look like post-pandemic? Well, piggybacking off of the way we kicked off this episode on the end of May, potentially everybody in America who wants the vaccination could be vaccinated. We need to start thinking about, if you've been really adhering to the COVID restrictions and staying home, chances are you haven't had a lot of sex like myself. And are you a little rusty? Have you explored your sexuality via tantra, toys? Have you wanted to explore topping or bottoming as you come out of this? Do you want a new boyfriend? Do you want to be single? Do you want to break up with your boyfriend? All are pondering sex addict minds like myself want to know. And I guess I'll kick things off with,
Okay.
I've been doing a lot of tantra work in this pandemic and haven't
Oh,
had
nice.
and I haven't had a lot of sex. I think I'm going to be, in some ways, I want to explore a lot more. In other ways, as in somebody that used to go to more sex positive sex spaces, albeit a sex club, where a lot of sex happen, I don't know that those spaces are going to be opening up in the nearer future. And I don't even know if that's the old me and that I even relate to that. I've often also stated on this show that I don't do so well on the apps. Well, I changed my picture yesterday, and boy, did I get, just by changing my picture to an updated picture, I got some new. And
it's like new meat in the water, honey. Fresh meat.
fresh, juicy, ready to explode.
Chum,
meat.
honey. You better get it, darling.
And so I'm thinking I might have this new hybrid of, I don't think I'm going to be going to all the sex clubs as much anymore. And I'm going to be exploring, because they probably won't be open as much anymore. And I might be exploring more with the apps. And it's just a whole thing. And I'm exploring being more of a top, I think, in... yeah, absolutely.
Look at you coming for my gig. I see that. I see you.
I'm coming. There's a casting call out, and I might get casted over you.
Never,
Cody,
darling. I have all the experience, darling.
We want to hear from you. What's your sexuality look like when we have a light at the end of the tunnel? Are you just going to go back to normal, or what's that look like for you? And Cody, I'm just curious with you. I know you're dating somebody, but are you going to be exploring new things? Is it same old, same old? What can you tell us?
So yes, I have been dating someone. But I feel like, so what I've learned during the pandemic is that I'm way too tantric. Sting ain't got nothing on me. That's great. I've learned how to go inside, but I don't know, it's a double-edged sword, because I feel like because Tantra is all about
building up
and not the release. And I feel like the release part I've been missing. So that part is really concerning me a little bit. But I have also explored more of my sexuality. I'm more open to things like put your finger in my butthole, do all the things. Do me like Brenda in Scary Movie if you want to. Do you remember that movie when she said all those freaky things?
I don't, but okay.
Okay, I'll send it to you, darling. I'll send it to you. But I think I've learned how to please myself too well. So I think that I'm going to have to learn to allow other people to please me in coming out of the pandemic.
It sounds like you always take the role of pleaser. Am I right?
Oh, for sure. Oh, 100%.
Which is always so giving. And I'm always like the one that just lies there on my back. And for so long, I tried to.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, but I'm 50 now, and I can't just lie on my back and expect well, I'm here. I guess I was a little lazy.
My part.
Yeah, so yeah. I need to kick it up a notch. So, I mean, I think that's wonderful that you're a giver. It's easier, as they say in acting, to pull back a little bit and receive. And are you noticing that in your current relationship that your partner is equally wanting to give to you?
Yeah. That's the thing. We're both givers. So, I mean, he's not a giver in that respect, but in the sexual respect, he's a pleaser as well.
So you just need to enter a throuple and have someone like me. I'm not applying for the gig.
I was going to say,
I'm all.
You don't get the job. You are not America's Next Top Bottom. Okay.
I was at one point. Teddy says, "I will." On this topic, I will make up for lost time. Don't say mine. What is? Oh, sorry.
Oh no! You have to cut that out. You have to cut that out in post.
I will.
Okay.
One of our listeners says they will make up for lost time, and yeah. I'm thrown off by that last name because we'll put it in then, unless you want us to say it.
Yeah. Put the second part first. Don't say my name before.
But it's a valid point of somebody that feels like we've talked about this on TAGSPodcast before, where there's a prediction out that maybe not right away, but a historian was talking about it might turn into, remember reading about the Roaring 20s and that whole era after post-war and all this kind of stuff, and people were hanging from the chandeliers. And
I cannot wait to hang from a chandelier. You have no idea how ready I am to go out.
You were off limits on my chandelier.
I was going to say, can I come to your house to hang from your chandelier?
I already feel I need to tell you and put rules on that. But this person also states, as a historian, that it's not like tomorrow. This is like these, from a historical standpoint, the way we act as Americans in history is it will be as some of us have saved money because we didn't lose our jobs. It will be like 2023, 2024, 2025 as the time when people are going to be really letting loose like this, because as we've stated on this, as bars, maybe they'll open on the summertime if we're lucky, but it's going to be a new normal. So when you think about like sex clubs and all this, but I do think, to this person's point that weighed in, it could be that kind of Roaring 20s thing. I think for so long, without having sex myself and working with things like you said, Tantra, I don't know that for somebody that used to be out there in this like sex positive and be in the sex clubs, I've changed. Not that I'm going to be conservative, but I don't know that that's going to work. I don't know that I'm going to just immediately go there. Does that make sense, Cody? I think I'm going to take my time a little bit with it. Like, I've changed. Like, we have all had trauma and change, and for my change, I'm still like all about sex, but it's it's going to be different for me. For me, I think in a good way, because I was so involved in that sex world a lot.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's kind of the complete opposite. I feel like I've been trapped in one space this entire time. I feel like when things gradually begin to open, I'm going to want to have that human connection. And for me, before everything went down, I was more of a more app type based guy. And I think that this is going to be really good for me to have that human connection and to be out in public more often and just having sex with. I definitely want to claim, in the name of Black Jesus, that I'm going to date one person specifically and have all the hot sex with them that I didn't have before. So I'm committing myself to that.
I like that.
Different places, different positions, every which way possible.
And I wish I had my dildo here to put my hand on the dildo. Not the Bible, to say that I pledge to be more of a versatile,
mine is inside me.
A versatile sexual being as we go into the pandemic. In other words, I want to flip a little bit more and maybe explore some youngins, but I still don't think I'm going to go hog wild. Like, in other words, let's just say May opens up. I don't see maybe because I did have a lot of sex and I was so involved in the sex positive establishments where I live. I don't see myself immediately like going. I think because I did that so much and this time away from all that, mind you, this is somebody, I speak of somebody that was out several nights a week.
Okay. Yeah,
That I
was with you some nights, a lot of nights I was with you.
It's going to be a lot more curated, I think, in a different, to use an overused word, but yeah.
Well,
But
I'll
I'm
call you
excited.
when I go out, but if I won't be offended if you don't come.
Okay, I'll come, but I mean, I was
It'll be at home.
exactly. Well, let us know how you feel. Go to TAGSPodcast.com. You can always weigh in on the conversation on how you predict your new sexuality is going to look like in this near post-pandemic world, because I imagine for so many of us it's got to change somewhat. You can't just, a year like this could not have gone by without us just saying, well, we're just going to pick up where we left off, so I'm curious to hear from you. We want to hear from you. All right, well, let's get back into some hot topics. And before we get into our thirst trap, or you get to really describe, and we invite anybody watching right now, we put the link in our discussion right now to scroll through.
Put it in again. I'll put it in again. I say that all the time.
I'll put it in again. Yes, please. And we want you to weigh on 23 porn stars and who took the hot one. But our job, Cody's and my job, is to describe in words, not visuals, why we're so thirsty for this picture. And it's going to be a lot of fun on that. But before we get to that, Taylor Swift has been in the news, right? And that's our hot topic story, correct?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Taylor Swift. Yeah.
Okay. You know what's so funny, people listening in, is that we do this pre-show production meeting, and I think I went through this whole topic with Cody earlier. Well, we were just talking about Taylor Swift a minute ago.
Oh yeah, we were. Yeah,
but we didn't talk about the story.
What happened? Was I making a face?
No, but we were talking about this offline, and I think that I thought that we went over it, but we did it offline. Anyways.
Yeah.
So Taylor Swift is in the news. Wait, we already talked about her though, right?
No, we haven't talked about it yet. Go.
Okay.
We talked about it on the pre-show. We talked about it on the pre-show.
Okay, thank you. I'm so confused. Sorry, guys.
You're not crazy.
We really went through this topic already. So on Monday, Taylor Swift called out Netflix, y'all, about this drama series on Netflix called Ginny and Georgia in a tweet. And on the show, they had a punchline about her in which one character said to another, quote, "You go through men faster than Taylor Swift," end of quote. Well, Swift, who has been in a steady and committed relationship for years now, called the joke, quote, "lazy and deeply sexist." She says, "Hey, Ginny in Georgia, 2010 called and it wants it." I'm trying to talk like how Taylor would probably talk.
Is that how she sounds?
"And it wants its lazy, deeply sexist joke back. How about we stop degrading hardworking women by defining this horseshit as funny?" Okay, girl. And then she went on to also Netflix, and I don't even want to go on because it's just like, I mean, Cody, does she have a point when so the reason I brought this topic up, because we would never be talking about Taylor Swift in normal terms, is I saw a lot of my talk shows break this down on, is it really sexist or not, when it's a dated joke, and people always come for women in the media. And would anyone ever come from, say, like a John Mayer, who's been known to sleep with so many men, and nobody ever, they think of as John Mayer as kind of like a stud. So, I mean, I get that point. Was she just being extra for like pick your battles girl? Because she probably made this show, Ginny and Georgia, more popular by calling it out. In other words, people didn't even know about the show. But it did get me thinking about our sexuality. And as gays in my community, people have called me out before and saying, slut shamed me, or said that, oh, Steve, legs are always up in the air and this and that.
Oh, what's that?
Which I didn't appreciate at times.
That's rough. Who says that to their...
I guess, A, does she have a point? And B, talk about it in our community as in our gay sexuality.
Well, John Mayer, I think John Mayer is worse than Taylor Swift as far as dating is concerned. Let's just put that out there first and foremost. She does not compare to John Mayer. John Mayer is a man whore.
Oh. All righty.
I said it. I wasn't going to say it. I put it out there. He is. And but she does have a point. She does have a point. I very rarely hear about women being men being called out in this fashion. But I also think that her skin is too thin. She basically grew up in the limelight.
Right.
So all of her, and she's very, very, very popular. And all of her relationships a lot of them are with famous people as well. So it's going to garner a lot of attention. So I feel like she should, this is coming out a little bit wrong, but she should have a thicker skin when it comes to the media portraying her a certain way. From what I take it, all Ginny and Georgia said was that she dated a lot of guys.
Right.
And who the hell has it?
Exactly. I don't know that you're right.
I mean, that just means that she knows what she likes.
You're right. It was a throwaway line and it wasn't enough to get all heated up over. And you're right. We all have dated a lot of different people. It wasn't even sexually related, although some people on the talk shows that I was watching related it to slut shaming. And I'm not sure how it even got there. But
yeah, I didn't hear any slut shaming. It just said she dated. It didn't say she slept with any of those guys, from what I understand.
Exactly.
And I'm probably not going to watch the show.
No, me either. But, in our own community, oftentimes we joke around with each other. Do you think that in our gay sexuality, we have a lot more fun and poking fun within our community about who we sleep with and this and that? And is there ever a line that can be crossed that isn't appropriate?
It happens to me a lot with gays that I don't really know that well. I feel like they look down their nose at other people that are who they proclaim are promiscuous. And even though they're doing something similar in their own lives, they may have dated a bunch of people. They may have even slept with a bunch of people, but they look down their nose at people that they deem are promiscuous. And I think it's really hypocritical and it's just sad. They're probably just jealous because they couldn't get the guys that I could get.
Okay. That's so funny. Yeah. I kind of agree with you too, that I think it's fun sometimes if you have your little shtick with your community to joke around. I've had friends do that in front of my sister once where they made I think I was telling you offline, where one of my friends, we're not even friends anymore, not because of that, but you're
very forgiving.
They were joking around and were saying, well, Steve, Steve's legs are always going to be up in the air right away, ready to go. And it was at a brunch with my sister there. And I turned to them and I clocked them on it. And they were like, what? Your sister's kind of like one of the guys. And true, she is. But that was just inappropriate and a little nasty. And we didn't even have that kind of rapport. Like, I didn't really joke with him in that way. I think it's, I joke with you a little bit. You joke with me a lot. Yeah, I think you got to. Exactly. That's always a dicey area, and I'm somebody that gives people a hard time. It's part of my shtick. I've always been that way. But I know when to have fun with certain people and how far to go with other people. And don't get me wrong, when you play around with people like that with words and you're joking around and you're kind of going to go there, if you know what I mean, you kind of have to know the person. I listen. We do on this show. I'm a communications major. I still make mistakes with this sometimes and have to back it up and apologize. But you know when you can joke around with somebody and have fun, when it's appropriate to go there, and when it's just plain rude and vicious. And jealousy comes into play a lot, and that's all I can. That's
That's what it comes across as to me. So
yeah, and Taylor Swift, grow up, because it's like pick your battles. And you're right, thin skin.
Girl.
All right.
Keep dating more guys. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Until you get it right.
Well, it's time for our last and final fun segment. And this is kind of a fun segment that okay, I was like, where's mine? So one of our sites that we will put this up on TAGSPodcast.com. It's called Thirst Trap Recap, which they entitle this on a site called Straight Up Gay Porn. Which of these 23 gay porn stars took the best photos or video? And it's like recent photos, and boy, they do some really great research on their posts. Well, because we're an audio podcast for the most part, and because we can't show any of this on those of you watching, we thought it would be fun to describe in our verbal ways why we chose the one that we chose. We will post this on TAGSPodcast.com, and we want you to weigh in. You'll be able to pick your favorite. So Cody, who did you...
Are we going to get sexy voices?
do your thing. I'll do Who did you pick?
I have two.
Well, bitch,
I'll do one right now. I know, right?
We'll check the time meter and see.
I can't.
Don't be greedy.
I can't help it. Okay. All right. So the first one that I chose, and we'll see if I can get to the second one. The first one that I chose is Caleb Stryker.
Okay, I'm scrolling to him right now. Is it towards the bottom or
closer? He's like the middle bottom.
Middle bottom. He's a middle bottom. Okay, I'm on Caleb
Stryker.
Wait,
but it's so the names are underneath, and
it's just his dick pic in the.
No, you got to play the video.
Oh, I don't think I can.
What?
Okay. I played it and it was like I could hear it in my headset, so I'll have to watch it later. I didn't watch it, but it looks thick. But you tell me.
So it starts out with him in the shower, and it has, which is already an instant boner for me, right? And there's a close up of his soapy fat dick. And then the camera pans out a little so we can see his tight body and his beautiful face. And he turns around to lather up his ass. And as the camera moves in closer to his butt, he spreads his cheeks open a little bit to expose his gorgeous, delicious hole. Ugh.
Wow.
How was that?
Really good. I need a little more descriptive. He looks tall, lean, white, and twinkish. Am I correct or no?
Yes, he is. He has brown hair.
Okay, his brown hair.
I wasn't looking at his eyes, so I don't know what color his eyes are.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Okay, that would have been one. I think I just scrolled past him, but
oh, did you really? The video is everything.
Based on your seductive review, I'm going to revisit when I get off of this call or this. Sorry, I'm so flustered. All right, are you ready?
A little hot under the collar, darling.
I'm a little hot and bothered. Are you ready for mine?
Yes, go.
So mine is a porn star by the name of Diego Matos.
Oh my God, that's Teddy's too.
Are you kidding me? Okay, Teddy, calm down. Nope. Calm down. I already claimed him. We get to your commentary section after me, so I already have dibs on him. We'll hear from you in a second. Simmer down. But Diego was on another another story, and he's Brazilian, but I'm now following him on Twitter. He's living in Italy, I believe. He has the hugest cock that's the thickest I've seen in a long time, and it seems like 9 or 10 inches. He's my color, brown skin, and he tends to, in this clip, I'm so intrigued because I'm like, what is on his dick? So I already like his dick, but you can't see it. It's this.
That's not a good question to ask. What is on his dick?
It's either a mold of a butt or a pussy.
Oh, okay.
And it's got enough room for it to go out the other end, and his dick definitely pushes out to the other end of it, so you could really pound this toy. He's pounding it in every clip I've seen him, and I'm considering joining his OnlyFans. He tends to have this sort of like, he looks into the camera and he's just staring at you, and it's kind of like, are you thinking anything? What's going on here? It's kind of so primal and sexual that I'm kind of into that. And it's my newest obsession. How did I do on my description?
I loved it. I'm gonna have to watch this, just like you. I'm gonna have to watch this. Oh wow! And his dick is actually
big, thick,
because it's contorting. It's warping the toy that he's using. Wow! It's so big that it's warping the toy. It's coming out the other side of the butt.
It turned that toy out. That toy is like going to retirement because it had enough.
I know, right? It's wore out.
Take me off the shelves, y'all. I've just been inseminated by Diego Matos. Teddy, you happen to like him as well? I can't believe he picked him too out of 23 people. Yeah. Teddy, we have the same taste.
Yeah.
All right, we're not hanging out as girlfriends because
Josh likes Himbo Tony, who was I didn't see it for him.
Himbo Tony needs to be on. I can't read that. Can you?
It's gonahurt.com. He could dethrone Castro is what it says.
Can you describe it, Cody, for us on why he might like it?
Let me go back to it so I could.
Tell us why. Tell us why, Josh. Because this is a descriptive podcast. We can't have dead air on here on why you like. Is it?
He's a cute white guy. He has light brown hair.
Bet you had a white guy too. So don't go there. This was a Twinkie white guy.
He's just not my speed. He's not my type at all. He has a nose ring. He has a bimbo t-shirt on, and he has a very, very big dick. It's just he looks like a top, and that's probably why I'm not into him.
Okay, now Josh. Okay, what did Josh just say? Thanks for responding, Josh.
Josh says thick and long, or maybe it's the camera angle.
No apologies for liking who you like. Thick and long works for me. We have a quick moment. Do you want to do your second one before we wrap up? Okay, because I can tell you're like about to explode. Please don't explode on this show.
Immediately after, I will explode. Okay. No worry. So my second one is Raheem Shabazz, who I love. He's with Joaquin Santos, and he's holding him up Dirty Dancing style. But instead of over his head, he's holding his ass to his mouth. He's holding Joaquin's ass. Yes. You have to watch
early on in this. Oh, it's all the video one. Okay.
It's near the bottom, I feel like. And he's holding Raheem is eating Joaquin's ass, but he's holding him up at the same time, and they're both fully erect, and it looks like so much fun. I have to try this.
Ooh.
If somebody gets hurt, then I don't know. I'm gonna have to.
It's really good. There's some
my emergency contact.
You guys, there's some really good. I am posting this on TAGSPodcast as well as some other picks as to the ones why I'm picking them as my favorites. It's a fun thing. Weigh in on it. Go to TAGSPodcast.com. And go to show notes, and you will see it's for episode 246. What did Teddy say?
Teddy says he put baby in the corner, and he liked my Dirty Dancing comment. And I'm going to go listen to I Had the Time of My Life right now. You know that song from Dirty Dancing?
And I had the time of my life. I don't know why I always want. I'm not a singer at all, as you all can tell. And Cody makes me
bring it out in you.
He does. Yeah, I'm like the least singer. Anyways, thank you all for playing. Go to TAGSPodcast.com where you can weigh in on some of these topics that we have tonight. They will be up Thursday, March 4th. And follow us at Tags Podcast on all social media platforms. Follow Cody Maurice Doggett at Mista Maurice on Instagram. That's MISTAH. And where can people follow you if they're looking to get into what you do, which is what?
Coaching.
Life coaching.
KMD Coaching.
CAM.
On Instagram as well.
Spell that out for the
what?
How do you spell that?
Oh, KMD Coaching. COACHING. Oh my God, it's like a spelling bee. Spelling bee.
Repeat. KMD
KMD Coaching.
You win the spelling bee. I love it. Thanks, guys. Continue being safe out there. Continue being safe out there. There is this light at the end of the tunnel. I know we are all feeling it, but wear your masks and keep it sexy.